Alright, so this is how you make a RIMP. You'll notice that it says Hollingworth School for the Talented and Gifted at top. It's got the student name. We don't clearly have an Alexander Hamilton, but that's the student I'm using today. It's got our school year. It's got the teacher's name, so this is the homeroom teacher. I am his homeroom teacher for this one. And it's got the grade level. He's in 2nd grade. It's got his primary language. For speakers of another language, it's important to put this on there so we know where they use the language and which language is their dominant language. In this case, English and French. He speaks French at home and English at school. His birth date, the date of the RIMP, so this is after you have all your map data, the Ohio reading screener is done, the Ohio writing screener is done, this is what we put. He was not retained in any grades, but if your student was, you'd put that right there. He is not exempt from retention. Any student exempt from retention is one that has either been retained before or by some provision of the state cannot be retained, such as an English learner, someone on an IEP that has already been retained, etc. Oops, that's okay. The grade levels he's been on a RIMP, he was on one in 1st grade, and he has not been referred for evaluation. If he has been referred for evaluation, you'd put in a Y there or write the word yes. That means the IEP process has already been started or it is nearing completion. Now we get to the assessment data. If they have the kindergarten, you would put that there, such as the Kindergarten Readiness Assessment, the KRA, or the BOY, kindergarten teachers, you know what I'm talking about. You'd put their fall score. If they were OT, which is on track, or NT, which is not on track, you'd repeat this process for winter and spring with the goal. Alexander was on a 1st grade RIMP. He, on his MAP score, that's the assessment they use, he got a 102, which is not on track. These numbers are completely made up, by the way, so they're not going to be accurate. I couldn't remember them off the top of my head, but this is a sample, so life is good. His winter score was 105 and his spring score was 106. Clearly he did not make the goal. He will be on a RIMP in 2nd grade. 2nd grade comes around, on his MAP, got a 104, which is not on track. We're doing a 1st quarter RIMP, and his goal is 135. So I'm looking at his RIMP, his pretend RIMP data, and I notice that he's really struggling in comprehension, fluency, and word recognition. I've already bolded and underlined those, so I know what I'm looking for. When I go to progress monitoring, these are the things I will do with him to see how he's getting on his skills. So, for Alexander, we use a comprehension test. It is given 1 time a week. A passing score is 8 out of 10. And I want to know how it's given. This is given weekly to each student. Sorry, spelling counts. We read the text 3 times together and once independently. I also know that he is on one of our websites. Got Headsprout, which is an intervention. Starfall can be an intervention. ABC Mouse can be an intervention as long as it's used with fidelity. Since he's so low, we're going to put him on Headsprout 2 times a week. He plays 2 times a week for 15 minutes each. I want to know how you're getting the data from this, so I will look for a printout of scores and recheck weekly. For older grades, you can use MobiMax, which is the same thing and it's much easier to use. I also do sight word checks with him. That's twice a week. Sorry, y'all. That's 2 times a week. He is on the FRA list, the first 100. And he goes through and he looks at the word and must say it within 3 seconds of reading it. And Because it's a list, I will use a checklist to measure. Checklist to measure growth. Because we haven't had a comprehension test yet, because it is October, I don't have any comments to put there. We haven't started Head Start yet, but we have started the first 100 Fry list check. And on his first check on 9/29/16, he got 4 out of 100 words. This is a benchmark, so we know what Alexander can do after this. Alright, so I've already checked the area for curriculum and instructional focus. The first one's comprehension. I can check this in a small group and as an individual. Now this is not where you put your comprehension test. This is specific strategies you will use with that one child. If you happen to have a group with them, great, do it in a group. If not, that's okay. So I'm going to use a RAND chart, which allows me to see what his misconceptions are, or a KWL chart with each text. We are going to do a guided reading group, and we're going to put him on the Fountas and Pennell leveled literacy instructions, which must be given by a qualified professional to do that. You can't just willy-nilly do them on your own. I'm also going to do running records. You don't have to do 4 strategies. You need to pick the 1 or 2 you can live with. I'm just giving you examples, if that makes sense. All right, his next one is fluency. That's an individual thing. We're going to do running records and 1 breath boxes. We're also going to do sight words. So we're going to do the booklets for those. And I have copies of those if you'd like them. Alright, and for phonics and word recognition, we're going to explicitly teach strategies in a small group. In reading group, we're going to do word sorts. And you do 1 or 2 strategies for each level. Does that make sense? Okay. So, intervention information. You don't need to fill out the 90 minutes of reading instruction unless you are a 3rd grade teacher. If you are doing small groups, you'll need to put the date in. We started those in October. It is a guided reading group. It is provided by the classroom teacher. Helps if you spell your name right. And the literacy specialist. Our goal is to get him on a level B book with 85% comprehension. Okay, we'll talk about the rest of the bottom later. So, time flies, wow. It is now 2nd quarter. Well, technically it's 2nd quarter when you fill these out, but it's time for winter math scores. He jumped up 6 points. He's at a 110, but he's still not on track. Great, so we get to repeat this process. So, he's still working on comprehension, fluency, and word recognition. But now I have data. So, I can put his most recent comprehension score. So, 11/25/2016, he got a 5 out of 10. I'm going to put his first score too. So, 10/14/2016, he got a 3 out of 10. Something's working. Head Sprout, he is still working on matching letters to sounds as of 11/25/2016. Alright, now that we have his first sight word check, we're going to put his most recent sight word check. He got 18 out of 100. Okay, great. So, since he hasn't gotten a whole lot better, he has gotten 6 points. Good job, Alexander. We're still going to go through the first 9 weeks. We didn't take a data because we were still doing math. Second 9 weeks is when the RIMP was due. And you're going to put any comments you noted. So, he is progressing in this standard. You'll notice up here is the cute little key. So he is progressing. Alright, his fluency, Since we didn't take scores that first 9 weeks, he gets a big X. He is progressing. Again, first 9 weeks, didn't take scores, but he's still unsatisfactory in this level. And that's okay, that gives us something to work on. Alright, so we don't change any of this except for we add to this. So as of 11/2016, the phonics are still hard. So phonics, he is struggling with differentiating between common sounds. And since he's getting better at everything else, I don't need to put that anything else is bad. So I'm going to scooch up. Making progress with comprehension and fluency. Great. We don't need to put anything else there. Oh, wow. Time flies. It's spring. And he has jumped up 5 points. 115. He's still not on track, though. That goal is 135. And if it were truly the case and you have done all these interventions like RTI requires, I would refer him. So, referred for evaluation 2017. And that lets me know that it's that. Assuming that he is speaking French at home and English at school, you will have already ruled out all the ESL factors. Alright, let's check in with his scores. So his most recent score in the third month, January, March. On March 29th, 2017, he's still getting 6 out of 10. Progress is happening. On the 30th, he can match all consonant letters to sounds, working on short vowels still. Alright, and then on his latest sight word check, our man Alexander is on 30 out of 100 words. It's made a lot of progress in his fluency with those. Okay? So his comprehension is progressing, but it's not progressing at the level it needs to. So I would put that as an unsatisfactory. He's only jumped up 1 point with all your interventions. Alright? His fluency is progressing because he's getting stronger with his sight words. And I'm sure with his running records, the sight words are being super helpful. But he's still not cutting it in the phonics part. So you're going to need to go through and rethink what can you do to help Alexander. Okay, so I'm going to edit this. So we need to do more comprehension questions. An explicit demonstration and one-on-one aid time for him. Alright, we're going to use as an instructional strategy picture cards and movements such as the phonics dance. I also forgot to put in how many times a week you do this. So we're going to pretend that I did that already. So you'll do this 1 time a week. Guided reading group 3 times a week. He is in LLI, level literacy instruction, 4 times a week. Running records twice a week. Records as again 2 times a week. 1 breath boxes, he'll do 1 a day. Sight words, he gets that 5 times a week. But he will also be assessed on it 1 time a week. I need to see how often you're doing this stuff, y'all. So he's in reading group 3 times a week. He'll get 3 times strategy instruction. Word sorts 5 times a week. Using the words their way. It's a good thing we're all learning together. And he gets instruction with the picture cards and the movements 5 times a week. Every day. So if I weren't doing this 5 times a day, I need to be honest and say that I'm not doing it at all. Or I'm doing it twice a week. Because this is what we get called to account on. Alright, so we are revisiting our intervention instruction. It is officially March of 2017. Because we're still hanging in there. Comprehension is improving. Struggles with identifying characters and setting. Answering critical thinking questions. Alexander can identify detail-oriented questions. Okay. There we go. Still leaving that there. Alright. Since it is spring, this is the last time you will have to fill this out. He's still not making the progress he needs to. So, I'm going to look at all this data. 4th 9 weeks, still not there. He is on that fluency 2. He's still not where he needs to be, even though he's made a lot of progress. And he's still not where he needs to be in phonics. So this is where I get to fill out the bottom. Right here. So, since Alexander is my student, I am the teacher of record. If you switch classes and you teach language arts and another subject, then you would put the X there. If you are teaching reading and you aren't certified, you'd put your name right here. So, Mrs. Bolanek, Mrs. McFarland, all those people who have a reading endorsement, you put that right there. And you're the one providing reading guarantee services. Alright? Unless any of you got a reading endorsement while I was not paying attention, which would be great. So, if you don't, you would not have to put anything on here. This is for 3rd grade teachers only. So if you don't teach 3rd grade, you don't have to worry about this. And that's okay. Alright? Now we go through and fill out our comments and the results of our intervention. So our first one was in October of 2016. And I need to know the strengths. So Alexander can identify all letters and can produce all letter sounds. He can follow along in picture books and answer questions with prompting. His weaknesses. He cannot match letters and sounds. He struggles to identify sight words. He cannot answer comprehension questions on his own. Follows along with picture books read out. There we go. Cannot answer comprehension questions on his own. Right? If you'll remember, that second quarter was in November. And if you remember, and if you don't, you scroll back up. You can match all consonants to their letter sounds, identifying more sight words. Can answer about stories semi-independently. Practice using reading strategies semi-independently. Weaknesses: short vowels, long vowels, identifying sight words still. Some progress is being made, but not enough. And he cannot identify the main idea in books independently. Alright, third quarter was in March. And the best part is now you get to make adaptations. So that means we need to do more questions, more visuals. You're responsible to picture cards and manipulatives. One-on-one time with an aide would help. So this is letting us know what we can do better for next time. Alright? He can match all consonants to sounds plus short U and short O sounds to letters. Can stretch out CVC words. We can identify 30 sight words. We can answer questions about the setting, characters, and main idea. He's making progress. Weaknesses cannot infer. Struggles with short A, short E, and short I. Magic E words as a second grader, that's very concerning. And he cannot self-correct miscues, which means he doesn't know when things don't match up. He is making progress. Alright, fourth quarter, this is May. This is where it all boils down. Adaptations for next time. We need to do more picture cards. That's how we got the character stuff. We do more intensive work with short A, E, and I vowels. And we need to do more sight word work in context. This is all based on your observation. Fourth quarter, strengths, see above, plus short E, can identify when the picture doesn't match the words. And then we've got weaknesses, still struggles with short A and short I. Still struggles to self-monitor. That's okay that it went down there. So based on all this, you use your professional judgment, and if they're still struggling this hard, I would say yes, they need to be on a RIMP. Alright, and this is where you tell me why. You can't just say, see above, like I did up here. So Alexander has made significant progress in comprehension, fluency, and phonics, but is still struggling with kindergarten level skills. You need to be objective here, no feelings, no feelings. Because I can show you the significant progress he's made, but he's still struggling with kindergarten level skills. He cannot segment or blend at a way that would show progress in third grade. He still struggles with short vowels. His comprehension and fluency have improved significantly, and this is where you attach your work samples, but it is not at a third grade level. Now, when you meet with them to have the retention meeting, you need to bring this because it will all fit on one page. Bring the results of your intervention, the end of year status, your explanation, and then this is where they get to make comments. You need to write this down. So if Alexander's mom says, well, he's got this and this and this, or we totally understand, you write down what they say right here. There is no test out date, but you need to sign it. Either myself or Mr. Franklin needs to sign this right where it says principal or designee, and the parent needs to sign it. So that is how you make a RIMP. If you have any questions, please let me know. This is how I expect them to be filled out this year. Thanks. Bye.